Welcome back to Survival Sunday with Johnny Tiger on Sunday, March 7, 2021. What happened to Survival Saturday, eh? Well, I had a busy night. I was just getting ready to make Survival Saturday when a friend called me on the phone, and I decided that going out for dinner was a little bit more fun than sitting around making a video. So I decided to go out for dinner, and then dinner turned into drinking beer. And long story short, by the time I got home, it was too late to finish the video. So I thought, well, hey, now might as well try to pump this video out today before we do our Soul Search Sunday. When I was in high school, I went through a period of time where I was uh, hanging out with some hooligans, the wrong side of the track, you can say. And despite of being totally blind, I was quite valuable to uh, the evil element, to the hoodlums and teenage punks and to the gangsters for two things. One was my knowledge in martial art and my willingness to fight. And two was my ability to come up with very inventive way to make weapons. So you can say I was kind of like the school's black marketeer. I was the school's weapon dealer. Uh, Anyone who wanted to sneak a weapon into their locker or in their backpacks and they didn't want to get caught carrying a knife or stuff like that. I was the guy to talk to. Luckily, both of those attributes now translate into positive aspects of my life. Now I use my martial art, my knowledge to help people, to make YouTube video, to teach students, and now I use my knowledge and creativity in making weapons, in how to find a creative way of defending ourselves. Just a quick recap, because that is the reason why we are doing this video today. Um, Last time I mentioned that here in Canada, the only legal weapon you can carry for self-defense, the only legal weapon for self-defense is a handgun, and only if you have the right clearance and right permit. So I'm saying this because I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't want to carry a knife. That's illegal. I want a pepper spray. I want a stun gun. I want a rape alarm." Well, unless you can justify carrying those things outside of self-defense, if you get caught with pepper spray and you say to the police officer, "I carry this pepper spray for self-defense," you still get in trouble, just like carrying a knife. It all fall under concealed weapon. Even if you carry a rape alarm, now this is something that's really crazy, is if you carry a rape alarm and then when you trigger that alarm and the alarm ruptures or damages the eardrum of your assailant, you actually are legally responsible for doing that damage. So you get into trouble even for that. Yeah, Canadian self-defense law really, really sucks. As a self-defense instructor, as a martial arts enthusiast, as a weapon collector, I will stand here. I will say Canadian self-defense law really is problematic for a lot of people for a lot of reasons. So it is because of that what I'm going to show you guys today is strictly speaking, it's legal, but it may be quite unconventional and quite insane seeming. Because you, when pepper spray and knives and stuff like that can, it's hard to explain to the police outside of the realm of self-defense. People have to become creative to find things that you can, if you get caught and they ask you, why are you carrying this? you can have a very valid reason to tell the police officer, I carry this because this is a tool of my trade. So, in other words, if your livelihood, if you are a gardener or landscaper, you can essentially walk around with a machete on your belt or on your back. And when you get stopped by the police, as long as you can show them proof that you need this tool, this is your tool, the tool of your trade, then you will be okay. That is basically how um, shallow and how ridiculous Canadian self-defense law is. I do not know what's legal or illegal in other countries. I know a little bit about the US, but I don't know much about the UK, about Australia, about India. So before someone asks, well, can you research and let us know, is it legal to carry a knife in Chicago? I will tell you right now that you need to do this research yourself because me plugging this information into Google is the same as you plugging this information into Google, and I simply cannot sit here and Google every time someone asks me to find out the law, the self-defense law in a new place, because today I Google Chicago, tomorrow I'm going to have to look up New York, next day I'm going to have to look up Mumbai, India, and the next day I'll look up Shanghai, China. No, I will never have time for anything else if I keep this up. So I understand Canadian law. I know how this works. The rest of you, depending on where you're from, it is up to you to figure it out with what is allowed and not allowed with your local jurisdictions. Today I'm going to show you guys a very deadly, I hate using this word, but there's no better descriptor for it. Very lethal, very effective, very deadly. Homemade DIY system for self-defense. And it's very cheap, relatively speaking. And you will not get into legal trouble with it, especially if you work in the computer industry, especially if you work in the tech industry. What it is, this is it. Now, some people are saying, what the heck? What's that? That's just a roll of extension cable. Yeah, well, this is not just any extension cable. Okay, you don't want to use telephone cord. This is the cable you see they use for your cable modem, for your cable TV. This is hard stuff. This is heavy stuff. Okay, when you roll it out tight like this, you want it to be about the same length of your forearm, and you want to roll it up nice and tight so it won't fall apart midway, then you can tuck this in your jacket pocket or just keep it in your car in case you need a self-defense tool. Now, some people are going to say, well, how do you use this? Do you unwind it and use it like a garrote? No, no, no. We are not going to do any assassination style stuff here. We're just going to keep this rolled up like this, nice and simple. As you can see, the way I hold this, you can use it just like a Collie Eskrima stick, a much shorter Collie Eskrima stick. But all the things we learn in stick fighting, the 1, 2, the 3, and 4, in knife fighting, the 12 and 1, all those movements apply to something so simple as a rolled up bundle of thick media cable. And is it very effective? Well, let me demonstrate a little bit for you guys. Here is our trusty rolling pin. We see this several times on the previous video. Okay, as I've shown this before, I'm very well conditioned to pain. So if I take this rolling pin and go at my stomach, okay, doesn't really faze me that much. If it's this bundle of cable, I take this and go at my stomach. Ooh, ooh, ow, ow, ow. It hurts a lot more than that rolling pin. Even though the rolling pin looks a lot more solid than this. This when this thing connects, it has amazing amount of kinetic force because it also applies a bit of a elasticity, like a whip. When it connects, it has a whipping kind of impact. You know, despite you using it like a club, when you connect, it has a lot of force because of the nature of the cable. Anyone who's ever got hit with a wet towel know how that works. Getting hit with a wet towel hurts a lot. And it's the same principle as a roll of cable. Okay? Why else is this really good to have for self-defense? Well, again, easy to explain the way to the police. I work with computer all day. That's why I carry this around. No, I help people fix their TV. That's why I carry this around. I'm heading to my friend's house for video game session, and we need to do some uh, rewiring of the monitor and the game system. That's why I carry this around. Okay, there's all kinds of ways to carry. I'm not here to promote you to lie to police officers, but again, my goal is survival. My goal is self-defense. Whether it's legal or not, it's really secondary at this point. Not to mention in this case, it's perfectly legal. There's no law that say you cannot go to your GameStop, Future Shop, wherever you get your computer stuff, and buy a heavy-duty bundle of media cable, TV cable like this, which is just incidentally good for self-defense. Another reason why this is fantastic for self-defense is if you do need to restrain your attacker so they are not going to pull a knife out on you while you call the police, then you can beat them silly with this first and then unwind the cable and tie them up. Right? Okay. I'm also going to show you guys something really cool. Someone coming at you with a meat cleaver or a knife, okay? This bundle of cable is going to beat that every single time. I don't know how many of you have tried to cut cable with knife before. It's extremely difficult, even if it's just one single strand, especially when it's a thick cable like this. Someone come at me with a knife, if I have a bundle of cable like this, I just, if I can just deflect the knife, I can just hit at the knife, at the hand, at the wrist, they will drop that knife in a hurry. Now let me show you guys how much force one can generate with a simple bundle of cable like this. This is a plastic container, well, part of a plastic container that used to hold screws and nails. It's not the most durable thing in the world, but it's good for what we need to do today. So, if I take this bundle cable and hit this container, look at that, shattered the whole thing, just like that, just like that. I'll show you guys here another a way to even enhance this weapon, this self-defense tool, the self-defense system. If, and I can't think of a reason why, but if you feel that a coil of cable like this is just not hardcore enough for your use, you think you still don't feel safe, and I'll show you. Here's a here's a cardboard, very thick cardboard box. This came with cat litter, and there's no cat litter in it, don't worry. Something heavy duty, something like a cardboard like this, if I hit it with this bundle of cable, okay, not much of an impact on something like this, as you can see. Um, it dented it a little bit, but there's just not much going on. So, If we want this bundle of cable to turn into something that have even more penetrating power, you go to your local Home Depot, spend 20 bucks, and buy something like this. What is this? That's a padlock. Okay, that's a medium-sized padlock. Not you don't need something very big, very solid. You want something like this. This is like $20 padlock. You put it through the one end of the cable, snap it shut, take off the key, put the key in your pocket, and suddenly now you have a bundle of cable with a very solid piece of metal. It's a padlock on the one end. It's this thing. I'm going to warn you guys now. Don't hit someone on the head with this. Don't go at someone with this unless you really mean to do them harm, because this is going to kill somebody. But let me show you what it will do to this cardboard container now. Look at that. Look at the gaping destruction it left in that container, in that cardboard, just by adding this padlock on the end of this spool of cable. Okay, now this is like one of the deadliest DIY self-defense weapon that's known to men. And again, if you get stopped by the police, ask why do you have a padlock on the end of your cable? You just have to tell them because it keeps getting unraveled when I don't want it to. I want it to stay together. I want it to stay wound up. That's why I padlocked it. That's all. Thank you for checking out today's Survival Saturday, or Survival Sunday, rather. We'll be back again later for Soul Search Sunday. For now, have a good night, and yeah, don't kill anyone with your self-defense homemade tool.